All right, let's talk about one of the most frustrating things in test automation. I'm talking about those tests that fail for what feels like no reason at all. Today, we're going to dive into a concept that will make your tests way more reliable and, honestly, save you a ton of headaches.
So let me ask you, have you ever had a test that passes and then it fails and then it passes again and you haven't touched a single line of code? It's maddening, right? And you know what? It almost always comes down to one thing: timing. This old friend. If this error message gives you a little bit of PTSD, don't worry, you are definitely in the right place. This is the classic signature of a brittle test. A test that's basically in a race with the web app and, well, it just lost.
Think about it like this for a second. An immediate check in your test is like ordering something online and then standing at your front door the exact millisecond the tracking app says out for delivery. Of course, it's not there yet. You have to give the system, a little time to actually do its thing.
But here's where it gets interesting. What if you could teach your tests to stop being so impatient? What if you could build them to wait intelligently for the right moment before they make a decision? Well, you absolutely can, and it's all about using something called web-first assertions.
So to really wrap our heads around this, let's use a little analogy. Forget about code for just a minute. I want you to imagine you're hiring a guard dog to watch over your test suite. Okay, so you have two options. On one hand, you've got the jumpy chihuahua. This little guy represents your traditional synchronous check. It looks once, just once, and if that success message isn't visible in that exact split second, it just starts barking like crazy and fails the whole test. But on the other hand, you have the trained guard dog. This is our web-first assertion. It's patient, it waits, it keeps scanning, and it only barks, it only fails if after a reasonable amount of time, the thing it's looking for genuinely never shows up. Now, which one would you actually trust?
So you see, this isn't just some neat little programming trick. This is a fundamental shift in how we build tests that we can actually rely on. Let's dig into why this is the smart way to handle waiting and how it's going to save you from those late-night debugging sessions.
Here's a huge insider tip, and this is really what separates the pros from the folks just starting out. Never guess with manual waits. The best engineers let the framework itself handle the timing, because it's literally built to deal with the unpredictable nature of the web.
I mean, the difference is just night and day. The old, brittle way is a one-shot gamble that, let's be honest, fails way too often. The resilient, web-first way is patient. It's persistent. It waits for the application to be ready. Just adopting this one single approach can probably eliminate like 90% of your timing-related test flakes. It's a game changer.
Okay, theory is great and all, but let's actually see what this looks like in the code. We're going to put the old, fragile way right up against the modern, resilient way.
First up, let's look at the anti-pattern. And hey, a lot of us were taught to do this at some point, but this is the #1 source of flaky tests.
You see this right here, time.sleep3. That is a hard-coded guess. You're just hoping 3 seconds is enough. And yeah, maybe it is today, but what happens tomorrow when the server is a little slow? The test fails. And what if the element shows up in half a second? Well, you just wasted 2.5 seconds of your life. It's both unreliable and inefficient.
Okay, now let's see the smart way. This is how you really tap into the power of a modern framework like Playwright.
Just look at that. How clean and simple is that? One line. This expect with to be visible is basically you telling Playwright, listen, I expect this element to show up, eventually. You worry about the timing. And so Playwright just handles it. It automatically pulls the page, it retries this check over and over until the element appears or a timeout is reached. The result? Code that's simpler, faster, and just infinitely more reliable.
And this power isn't just for checking if one little element is on the screen. No, you can apply this exact same logic to the state of the entire page.
So, for example, a user logs in, and you want to make sure they landed on the dashboard. Well, instead of guessing how long the redirect will take, you just assert it. You say, I expect the page to have the title User Dashboard. And Playwright just waits. It waits for the navigation, it waits for the title to update, and then it checks. It's just beautiful.
Now, as powerful as this is, there are a few common mistakes that pretty much everyone makes when they're first starting out. So let's just go over them right now so you can avoid all that pain.
First off, using a standard assert on a method like .isVisible. That's our jumpy chihuahua again, right? It checks once, it fails. Second, jamming those manual time.sleep delays in there. We've already seen why that's a terrible idea. And third, using a generic matcher that just doesn't have that auto-retry magic built into it. You've got to stick to the web-first assertions that the framework gives you.
All right, we have covered a lot, so let's boil this all down into a few key rules that are basically going to become your new testing superpower.
Okay, number 1, always, and I mean always prioritize web-first assertions like .to be visible or .to have title. Second, remember these assertions completely get rid of the need for manual sleeps. Just let the framework do the waiting for you. And third, focus your tests on what the user actually sees and experiences. That is what creates tests that are robust and actually mean something.
And I am not exaggerating here. If you truly master this one single concept of automatic retrying assertions, you will be ahead of 80% of engineers who are writing UI tests. This is the absolute bedrock of reliable automation.
I really hope this was valuable for you. So now that you've got waiting down, come join us for the next explainer. We're going to explore soft assertions, a really cool technique to find even more bugs in just a single test run. Thanks for tuning in.